We had just bought a house, and we had this huge loft, and first thing we thought was this is a perfect place for a pool table.
We found someone who had one on Craigslist, and I messaged him. I'm like, can I come look at it? And then they sent us an address, and we thought it was really weird because when we drove up, we're like, oh, this is a church. Huh, they have a pool table here. And we thought that was kind of strange, but we ended up looking at it and not getting it, but we were talking to the person about the church because we're like, oh, this seems like a really big, nice church. So he told us a little bit about it, and then luckily it was really close to our house. First time we came, we heard about a missions trip, and it was something that we both have been looking for.
I remember when I was in high school, I went on a very short-term mission trip just to North Carolina, and I remember how close to God I felt, so I just knew I was due for another one.
It was just something we both connected on right away, that we just need to go on a missions trip, and what better way than to go together. The next Sunday we talked to the pastor and said, hey, we heard about that missions trip last week, we really are interested in it, and he's like, oh, crazy, there's a meeting today. It was really funny because when we sat down for the meeting, they were asking us and going around sharing names and telling each other how long they've been going to church, and they got to us and we're like, oh, this is our second week, and they were just like, what?
I remember driving home from work one day, and I just got this big tug to go into ministry. I prayed about it and I prayed about it, and I said, God, if this is something you really want me to do, then I want a pastor to ask me if I've ever thought of being a pastor. And I had to be very specific. The cool thing about it was I knew without a doubt that if God really wanted me to do it, then this was going to happen. And so when I least expected it, I was doing dishes. One of the pastors asked me that very specific question. I just looked at him and I knew that, that was God saying that he wanted me to go into ministry.
I'm terrified of clowns.
That's how I always scare her.
It is. And they were asking, who wants to be a clown for tomorrow when we go to minister to the little kids on the street? And I'm just like ducking my head. I'm like, oh gosh, please no. So it was literally the best experience because all the kids go straight to the clowns. And it was so extremely fun, and I really felt like, wow, kids have such a nature that you don't even need to really have one-on-one conversation. You just need to be there with them, for them, and spreading the love. And they understood everything that we were trying to get across to them and picked up on the ministry so well, and were so excited about it. And from that moment, that's when I knew that I had a calling to work with kids. When God has a plan, He'll definitely make it happen. Just that act of submitting, really, the huge word of just submitting everything to God. At times it's really hard to, and there'll be the struggles. I had a struggle when I came back, and I'm like, is this really where you want me to be? I don't think this is where I'm supposed to be, and spoke directly to me and said, look at where I've brought you. And I looked back at everything, and it's been so far that I've come and really just been stretched, and it's just by letting Him take control.